next speaker for the session is Mr. Samir Sathe. He is Executive Vice President for Wadhwani Foundation that leads Wadhwani Advantage program in India, Egypt, and provides global mentorship to the Advantage program focused on accelerating small business revenue and job growth. In addition, he also leads the effort of Academy in building do-it-yourself consulting tools. He also leads talent acquisition function at the foundation. Samir has 28 years of experience in India, Asia, Middle East, Hong Kong, Singapore, UK, and US in doing change management. He is a master in change from INSEAD, France. Samir has attended leading professional service firms at Harvard Business School and Challenge of Global Poverty at MIT. Samir is an author, speaker, disruptive thought leader, and practitioner of management science to bring about systemic changes in entrepreneurial leadership. Samir is going to talk with us today about the current challenges being faced by the auto component manufacturers. We also have Mr. Sagar Khandelwal from Wadhwani Foundation, who is going to make a case study presentation on ACMA Wadhwani partnership. Sagar has been working closely with ACMA SMEs and helping them transform their businesses. He has also worked with Maruti Suzuki and later in the management consulting field before joining Wadhwani Foundation. So Samir and Sagar, welcome to you, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Ranjotji, and thank you, Rangatji, and thank you, ACMA, for having us over here. And thank you all the other co-panelists here attending, and all of you, all the small, medium-sized enterprises, all the tier 1, tier 2 manufacturers, component manufacturers, systems manufacturers, etc. If there are any OEs in the audience, welcome. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things here, Ranjotji and all of you. The first is really in terms of, let me just very quickly introduce Wadhwani Foundation and Advantage program, in addition to what Ranjotji mentioned. Second is I will talk about some of the very important challenges and the themes, the growth and efficiency related subjects that we have dealt with when we are dealing with a lot of the automotive clients that we are working with. And like Ranjotji mentioned, in fact, in last 1 or 2 years, we had the opportunity to work with as many as 50 different automotive component manufacturers who are members of ACMA. And currently, as we speak, Sagar and all of us are helping about 15 in actually undergoing a program, what we call our Advantage program, which basically is focused on empowering all of you, the entrepreneurs, the owners, the top management, to become leaders in their respective segments, auto component segments, and become better at managerial capabilities. So I will just talk about that. So very quickly, the foundation is a 21-year-old foundation, and Dr. Ramesh Wadhwani, who's a Padma Shri Award winner, and he has been in Silicon Valley for the last 40 years. He's a billionaire, and he has handled about 35-40 companies as an entrepreneur himself. So he completely understands what does it mean to actually nurture a business, grow the business, scale it up, and make it into a success story. He has pledged about $1.8 billion for the whole mission of job creation, and job creation through, very interestingly, economic acceleration of all the small and medium-sized enterprises. Because we know very surely, whether it is India, whether it is Mexico, whether it is any other sort of developing country or even developed country, SMEs contribute tremendously to the GDP, to the employment, to the gross value add, to the exports, and a plethora of other things which we are all aware of. Now, as far as India is concerned, Ramesh said that let's ensure that we focus on the Advantage program to help all of you. And one of the important sectors that we chose was automotive, for the simple reason that they do contribute significantly to the economy, not only in terms of percentage of GDP, which is close to 3%, but it's also a very lead indicator of how the economy is doing, both in terms of employment, also in terms of inflation at the wholesale price index, because automotive, as you know, basically consumes lots and lots of materials across the different industries. So I think it's a very good lead indicator as well. And from our perspective, employment in India, when we look at the stats, as far as India is concerned, is one of the top 5 leading employment generators for us. So I think, which is why we said let's focus on that. Now, very interesting thing that we do at Wadhwani Advantage is we really not only solve the business problems of growth and efficiency for entrepreneurs, but we want to go beyond that. We want to make yourself your own advisor. And the fun is that because we are philanthropy, everything that Sagar is doing, or on the call, I also have my national leader, Barsha Chatterjee, who has been closely involved with ACMA. And all of us are really focused on ensuring that the management capability with all of you is sustainable. It's not about consultant coming in, solving a problem, going away. It's about you becoming sustainably able to basically ensure that you are set on a growth path, accelerated growth path. So what we do is three things, simple. We basically do it yourself toolkits, as you can see in the slide, which are basically automated logic of advice rendering, right? So basically, when we look at any giving advice, we automate that. Second is we put you in touch with the right experts. And third is we have a very significant hand-holding effort that happens in training you, empowering you, one-to-one 12-month engagement in basically building that management capability and ensure that you're on a growth path. So that's in a nutshell what we do. Later on, Sagar will walk you through the case study, as Ranjitji mentioned very clearly. So you will understand what do I mean, what does it mean by actually running through a program, Advantage program, right? So it is basically giving you knowledge, giving you advice, giving you basic tools that your people, your sales people, your marketing people, your production people, your supply chain people can use in their daily lives, which will make their own productivity much better, so that you at the top, when you're reviewing the progress as an entrepreneur, as a top management, are able to receive the dashboards and the MIS systems, which will tell you based on data that resides in your company as to how your company is functioning. It's just like a health check. So that's what we do. And Sagar will walk you through that. Before we do that, let me sort of talk about what are the typical 10 different problem statements that we have come across, and you can identify and resonate with them, I'm pretty sure. If you look at the statistics, pre and post pandemic, let's take a situation in 2018 and let's take a situation today. I can tell you that we did research analysis on all the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, automotive, as well as the system suppliers. And the data indicates that after COVID, where we are today, from where you compare in 2018, we have got the ROCEs, return on capital employed, percentage drop by as high as 4 to 6 percentage points. So that's 400 to 600 basis points. The EBITDA margins, right, which is after gross margins, after fixed expenses, etc. The EBITDA margins before treatment to taxes, interest, etc. They have dropped 6 to 9 percentage basis to 900 basis points. And that's the impact of COVID. Now, if you look at even before COVID and today, where we are, the automotive component industry is, it is not that before COVID, it was in a pink of its health. As you know, in 2019, the GDP of the country had already dropped down from 7% to 4.3% from first quarter calendar to last quarter calendar. It had an impact on automotive as well, both in domestic business, in exports business, in aftermarket, in OE, in tier 1, in tier 2, in tier 3, whether you take CV, whether you take 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, etc. In all the segments, it has had already a deep impact. Given this situation, when we walk in, we look at these 6-7 problem statements carefully. What are they? The most important challenge that we have been able to solve for auto component guys of ACMA members is really a key account management. And that really boils down to focusing on what are your key customers who are going to add value to your top line and bottom line. Any auto component manufacturer, whether it is tier 1 supplying to systems suppliers, or whether it is tier 2 supplying to tier 1, or straight having a relationship with the OE, is always saddled with the fact that am I going to make money and scale both in case of the products that I'm making. So most of the interventions, the top problem that we have been able to solve is how do I ensure that I focus on the right set of customers and how do I focus on the right set of products. So there is an entire product portfolio decision making, and then there is an entire customer portfolio decision making, and these two go hand in hand. These are the two dimensions. And we have witnessed, and we can say very clearly, that if you are able to improve these two problem statements and address these problem statements, you have an opportunity to improve your margins by 3 percentage points to 9 percentage points at the EBITDA level. And that's really significant, right? And we do this with the help of tools, which is backed up by 300 human years of subject matter expertise. I personally used to lead automotive practice in my 25 years consulting before I came to Foundation. I've had the opportunity to work with the multinationals, Indian tier 1, tier 2 suppliers. And therefore, the tools that you see, the evidence, the analysis that you see is backed up by that. It's purely data-led. We have developed a dashboard of 28 key performance indicators, which will help you to look at your health of the company on a regular basis. And that's very critical because it's just not about recovering from pandemic. It's about ensuring that you're on the growth path. You should be in the in the region where you're making more profits, more scale, and that's very important. We have benchmarks, and that's something that which happens a lot. The second thing that is theme that we are able to solve for these guys is exports. Exports is a big theme, and I think exports is becoming more and more challenging for the simple reason the global resource pool is kind of has shrunk after the pandemic. The OEs are becoming more particular about whom they want to source products from, and their regional strategies are changing. Asia strategies, the European strategies, and US strategies from getting products from these markets is changing. It's no longer low-cost manufacturing hubs. It's about ensuring that we have complete reliability, 100% sort of reliability in terms of product supplier and supply partnerships. So that's the second. Exports is very important theme as far as the manufacturers are concerned. So we look at that after CAM, after key account management and product portfolio. The third is really the whole switch to electrical products wherever the profit pools are more. So I think there is a whole trend which is that we are witnessing in terms of auto and non-auto, and within auto, the traditional products to electrical products. So that's another product portfolio decision making that is happening. The fourth key problem statements that we are solving is movement from a component supplier to a system supplier, movement from a component supplier to an aggregate supplier. And that's largely because if the scale is going to happen over a period of time, the margins will happen after some point of time. So you need to produce more profitable products. The last three areas that we are working on are really the supply chain management, spend analysis, and aftermarket. At the end of the day, if you look at these all problem statements, basically we are trying to improve the managerial capability of all the entrepreneurs, not only the owners, but also the second and the third level. And this is where I think the crux of the matter is. So we want to make sure that you are on a growth path and you know the science behind accelerating your growth. So I will just take a pause here in the interest of time. Sagar will walk you through very quickly a case study so that you understand. And I will strongly encourage all the members out here to reach out to us because, for example, I heard the presentation by ZAT, and they mentioned about the partnerships and the localization that is going to happen. And it's very important whenever you're looking at those supplier partnerships, we can help you to look at how to make sure that you're in a position to basically become eligible for the supply partnership. But it takes certain ability to demonstrate that you are able to serve the demands of the OEs residing in US or Europe or so on and so forth, right? There's also the element of bankers when you're dealing with bankers, and I heard Sidvi, Mr. Tyagi as well. When you're dealing with bankers, you need to know how is it that you're going to ensure that you give confidence to the lender that you're going to return their money. And most of the manufacturers, trust me, today are in the blind. They know that they want to grow, but they are unable to connect that with what would it take for them to ask for more money and how to instill that confidence in the lender. And that's something that we can help you with because it's all about having clarity in terms of how your money is going to be utilized the most. So I'll take a picture and I will ask Sagar to very quickly walk you through this case study. Welcome any questions even during this session. After this session, reach out to us. And very happily, we have an application link in terms of if you want to really utilize our program, we will be very happy to talk to you. And the links will be given as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ranjot sir, for kind introduction. And I offer my gratitude to all the esteemed panelists today. And I was fortunate enough to work with some of the panelists, and it was a great experience for us. And I hope it was likewise for them as well. Here, I would like to talk about one of the case studies for one of the ACMA SMEs. So they are into the transformation journey right now. We have two phases. One is a discovery process, and second is transformation journey. So discovery process lasts for anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, and then we begin the transformation journey to actually implement the recommendations. We estimate 3 to 6 months of transformation journey depending on the criticality of the projects and the availability of the team members and some other constraints that we might have during the journey. So I would give you a nutshell of what our structured approach of discovery and transformation is all about. So there are 3 parts to it. Pardon this slide may look very busy to you. I'll try to explain in a very concise manner so that you get entire clarity. So there are 3 phases. One is a business discovery phase. Second is preparing or developing the integrated transformation plan, and third is a implementation phase where we'll be implementing the recommendations that which are during the discovery journey. Now, when we talk about discovery, Samir slightly talked about it. We rate your company's performance on 20 plus business related critical KPIs. So these KPIs are split across, core key functions, which are nothing but your revenue, finance, operations, and workforce. And when we actually, use the tool, we use some, quantitative information about your company to come up to a, certain analysis of your internal performance on these critical KPIs, and also we benchmark you against the industry standards. So these industry standards can be a reference point or, aspiration for you to actually, aspire for growth in the near future. Second is when we on the basis of the KPI analysis, when we identify some of the weak KPIs, we try to understand more about that. What are the underlying issues which are causing the subpar performance of individual KPIs? So this is the way we actually reach to the deeply rooted underlying issues within the business, which were not apparent on the superficial level. Then, on the basis of the entire journey and the qualitative and quantitative analysis, we conduct several brainstorming sessions with the entrepreneur and the functional members or functional heads per se, to actually refine the findings and validate some of the findings that have come from the business diagnostic tool. And then on the basis of that, we prepare a detailed business discovery report, which talks about all the underlying issues or deeply rooted issues within the business. Now, the second part comes is defining or developing the integrated transformation plan, which is nothing but putting together all the mini actionable projects, which will take anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks to implement and get the changes within the organization. So we put together on the basis of mutual discussions, and then we prioritize some things over the other, because if we put together 10 projects, we cannot start all the projects simultaneously. So on the basis of some calculation on the potential gains in terms of revenue and profitability, you prioritize some of the mini projects over the other, and that is how we initiate the transformation journey. In the implementation phase, we initiate first with the P0 or priority 1 projects, and we set up cadence call, which would be weekly or bi-weekly basis, and we involve all the functional heads and also the CEO to have detailed brainstorming sessions on the progress and whatever we have planned, the progress against that, and the next steps for the coming weeks to come. And this handholding would go on for next 3 to 6 months. And majorly our internal team is involved in the transformation journey. And if at all during the journey we realize that there is an intervention required from the external advisors from the industry, we are open to that idea as well. What are the some of the horizontal benefits across the entire journey? One is developing the rigor. So when we involve all the team members during the journey per se, let's say discovery and transformation, there's an increased sense of accountability within the team members when they are asked for certain information and work on something. We are also training the team on the go while we are trying to identify the problems or underlying issues within the company, and we are trying to resolve those issues. The entire team is present during the entire journey, and they are also learning how to identify and resolve the problems on their own. We truly want them to become Atmanirbhar once we have stopped our intervention. And the third is restructuring the entire internal processes. So we look at MIS reporting system and the existing business plan the company might have. We also look at different data sets within the company. We try to work on the data, clean and analyze the data points to create a master sheet to actually understand the company's performance on all fronts, different customers, different products, and so on and so forth. So this is a end-to-end support to the companies to set them on a profitable growth path. Okay. Now I would come to company specific journey. So for this particular ACMA SME, we have covered 14 weeks of engagement. 6 weeks were dedicated for discovery, and 8 weeks were dedicated for transformation so far. And we are visualizing next 8 to 12 weeks for the further transformation journey. I would give you very broad bullet points to make you understand. I won't go into much detail. There's a lot of data points. There's a lot of activity that we have done with this particular company. But I'll talk about all the bullet points that will serve as a milestone, quick wins for this particular company. So first of all, we identified the CFT members who will be involved in the entire journey, from sales team, from finance team, from operations team, along with the CEO. And then we had continuous discussions on the data accuracy that the team filled in the tool. and we wanted to make sure the entire data points are correct so that the output is accurate to analyze. And then we conducted different brainstorming sessions to validate the findings, and at the end of the day we identified 6 very weak KPIs within the business to actually deep dive upon. One was revenue, second was gross margin, third was average payable days, average receivable days, average inventory days, and also cash runway. So this particular company was performing very poor on these 6 KPIs. So we thought of might as well look deeper into that, and we identify some of the deeply rooted issues within these KPIs. In the process we also looked at existing MIS system that the company had. Let me zoom in a slide slightly so that you get what I'm talking about. Then we also looked at business plan that the company had. So both these MIS reporting and the business plan, they were pretty outdated, and those were pre-COVID, pre-industrial changes, and there's a lot of rectification that was required that we realized on the go. And at the end of the business discovery, we prepared detailed discovery report and integrated transformation plan with the inclusion of 8 to 10 project charters. Out of 8 to 10 project charters in the transformation journey, we prioritize three project charters, which are nothing but Samir also mentioned about some of the key charters that we are undertaking with some of the companies. Key accounts management is one of the things. Second is product-wise profitability, and third is GTM strategy creation for the next 3 to 5 years for the company. One interesting thing about auto component manufacturer is that they have a huge set of product variants. When we look at each and every individual product within the company, they are in thousands of numbers. And eventually what we realize is out of those 1,000, only top 20 or top 30 would be contributing to major chunk of your revenue, let's say 50 or 60%. So the company needs to prioritize those products over the other to maximize their value proposition or profitability for the entire company. If those top 20 or top 30 products are sorted, the entire company performance is sorted somehow in terms of profitability. In the process, on the go, we developed a customized dynamic tool with a review dashboard, which will be used for key accounts management, customer and product wise sales and profitability tracking, and strategic business planning for next 2 to 3 years. And on the go, we also prepared one master business sheet, which is pivoted for different plants that the company has, the customers that they have, the customer type in terms of OE customer, tier 1 supplier to OE, or after sales account, or let's say exports account, and so on and so forth. And also the customer location, because logistics plays a very vital role in the overall cost of the product that the company has. So it is also important to understand which all locations we are serving from different plants. If there is any need of localizing our supply, or setting up a local facility to cater to a huge chunk of customer in a particular location, that is also good understanding to have in the future. Product family that they have, so out of 1,000 product variants that they have, the product families could be anywhere between 10 to 20. It's good to understand which product families you are catering to in terms of overall revenue, and also parts. And this we prepared on the basis of the ERP data that we had for past 2 years, and also manual efforts from the team members. So entire team is involved in the entire process. So it's a wholesome journey where the team is also having a sense of accountability, sense of responsibility, which is very crucial for business to succeed in the near future. I won't go into much details of how many parts and how many customers that we came up with and how many we selected for further deep diving. I'll just give you, we selected top 20 or top 30 products out of the thousands of products that they had, and also out of the 100 customers. The funny thing is, out of 100 customers, only 5 to 10 are contributing to 90. So it is very important to bifurcate these customers into two particular categories. One is existing key accounts which are generating major chunk of your revenue, and also some of the big potential accounts in the future. Right now, in terms of revenue number or revenue contribution, they would be looking very small, but in the future they have a good potential to grow for you. And similarly, bifurcated the customers into three major categories. One is 3 or 4 categories. One is OE accounts. Second is tier 1 suppliers to OE. third is aftermarket accounts, and fourth is exports accounts. So it is good to have business visibility or analysis across these four pivots. So that is the journey that we are undertaking right now. And during the next 8 to 12 weeks, we are planning to analyze unit level profitability for top 20 product variants for the company. And then we'll look at ways and means to improve the profitability via, let's say, raw material vendor rationalization or negotiation, inventory payables, receivables optimization, controlling the processing cost that goes into manufacturing a particular product, and also some of the direct overheads. So we'll look at all the areas of cost optimization. In terms of customers, we are right now filling customer level analysis for each and every critical account in terms of the current revenue, the potential revenue, or the share of wallet that we can have in the future from their side, the gross profitability, how much we are generating and how we can improve that, and what has been the overall customer satisfaction in terms of quality, after sales service, pricing, and other aspects. And also, is there any potential of collaboration on innovation or product development in a long-term fashion? So it will serve as maximizing the lifetime value of a particular key account and also the profitability. So this is the orientation that we are going to have. And last but not the least, at the end of the day, we will be preparing business planning for next 2 to 3 years, pivoted across which industries, which business segment, which particular customer, whether it is existing or new customer, which particular product, existing, new geographies, channel, etc. So this will be synopsis of the discovery and transformation journey. I have other slides also, but in the interest of time, I would reserve those slides to have individual sessions with some of you. We would be happy to answer some of your questions in the Q&A session, and we can also connect offline. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Sagar. Thanks for your presentation and explaining it so well. I must mention that ACMA and Wadhwani Foundation have been working very closely, and they've launched programs in which our members have enrolled by paying a very minimum kind of a fee that ACMA is charging to interface and kind of be a conduit on this initiative. Your initiatives, indeed, I've been personally, I've enrolled myself in your program, and I can say that it provides you a very different lens to analyze and strategize your business. So thank you so much.